I'm recording this video with permission from Scholastic. Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be reading chapter 28 of the Tale of Despereaux. So if you missed any of the earlier videos and you're not caught up to speed, make sure you go watch those so the story makes sense. But we are in the middle of unpacking the character of Maigri Sao, who we realize is not treated super well by her family, and in the last chapters that we read, we realize she sees the royal family. She sees Princess P and King Philip and everybody, and she decides she wants to be a princess. And her uncle doesn't respond very well to that. He's pretty mean to her, but that's kind of where we left off. But this next chapter is called To the Castle, and we are still focusing on Maigri Sao. And so I want you guys to maybe think about whether you make a prediction or just kind of think what is going to happen? How do you think Meg is going to escape this life? Why do we think that she is this important part of the story? Because she is a crucial part. She has a whole section of this novel dedicated to her. But so far, we're just kind of hearing some negative things. And so I want you to keep an open mind as we get going. And we're just going to be reading one chapter today because it's a little bit longer one. So this one's called To the Castle. Years passed. Meg spent them scrubbing the kettle and tending to the sheep and cleaning the hut and collecting innumerable, uncountable, extremely painful clouts to the ear. In the evening, spring or winter, summer or fall, Meg stood in the field as the sun set, hoping that the royal family would pass before her again. Gore, I would like to see that little princess another time, wouldn't I? And her little pony, too, with his tippy-toed feet. This hope, this wish that she would see the princess again, was lodged deep in Meg's heart. Lodged firmly right next to it was the hope that she, Maigri Sao, could someday become a princess herself. The first of Meg's wishes was granted in a roundabout way when King Philip outlawed soup. Remember that detail? We know that he outlawed soup because Rosgirl landed in the soup and the queen died. Remember that? So we're kind of catching up to that timeline a little bit. The king's men were sent out to deliver the grim news and to collect from the people of the kingdom of Dor their kettles, their spoons, and their bowls. Reader, you know exactly how and why this law came to pass, so you would not be as surprised as Uncle was when, one Sunday, a soldier of the king knocked on the door of the hut that Meg and Uncle and the sheep shared and announced that soup was against the law. "How's that?" said Uncle. "By royal order of King Philip," repeated the soldier. "I am sent here to tell you that soup has been outlawed in the kingdom of Dor. You will, by the order of the king, never again consume soup. Nor will you think of it or talk about it. And I, as one of the king's loyal servants, am here to take away your spoons, your kettle, and your bowls." "But this can't be," said Uncle. "Nevertheless, it is." "What'll we eat? And what'll we eat with?" "Cake," suggested the soldier, "with a fork." "And wouldn't that be lovely," said Uncle, "if we could afford to eat cake?" The soldier shrugged. "I am only doing my duty. Please hand over your spoons, your bowls, and your kettle." Uncle grabbed hold of his beard. He let go of his beard and grabbed the hair on his head. "Unbelievable," he shouted. "I suppose next the king will be wanting my sheep and my girl, seeing as those are the only possessions I have left." "Do you own a girl?" said the soldier. "I do," said Uncle. "A worthless one, but still, she is mine." "Ah," said the soldier, "that, I am afraid, is against the law, too. No human may own another human in the kingdom of Dor." "But I paid for her fair and square with a good laying hen and a handful of cigarettes and a red tablecloth." "No matter," said the king. "It is against the law to own another. Now you will hand her over to me, if you please, your spoons, your bowls, your kettle, and your girl. Or if you choose not to hand over these things, then you will come with me to be imprisoned in the castle dungeon. Which will it be?" And that is how Maigri Sao came to be sitting in a wagon full of soup-related items next to the soldier of the king. "Do you have parents?" said the soldier. "I will return you to them." "Eh?" "A ma?" shouted the soldier. "Dead," said Meg. "Your pa?" shouted the soldier. "I ain't seen him since he sold me." "Right. I'll take you to the castle, then." "Course," said Meg, looking around the wagon in confusion. "You want me to paddle?" "To the castle," shouted the soldier. "I'll take you to the castle." "The castle? Where the itty-bitty princess lives?" "That's right." "Gore," said Meg. I think gore is like an exclamation, like, whoa. "I am to be a princess too, someday." "That's a fine dream," said the soldier. He clucked to the horse and tapped the reins, and they took off. I'm happy to be going, said Meg, putting a hand up and gently touching one of her cauliflower ears. Might just as well be happy, seeing as it doesn't make a difference to anyone. But you, if you were not, said the soldier. We will take you to the castle, and they will set you up fine. No longer will you be a slave. You will be a paid servant. Huh? Said Meg. You will be a servant, shouted the soldier, not a slave. Cora, said Meg, satisfied. A servant I will be, not a slave. She was 12 years old. Her mother was dead. Her father had sold her. Her uncle, who wasn't her uncle at all, had clouded her until she was almost deaf. And she wanted, more than anything in the world, to be a little princess, wearing a golden crown and riding a high-stepping white horse. Reader, do you think that it is a terrible thing to hope when there is really no reason to hope at all? Or is it, as the soldier said about happiness, something that you might just as well do, since, in the end, it really makes no difference to anyone but you? And that's the end of our chapter. So this answered some really big questions in this chapter. We learned how Megarry gets into the castle and escapes her uncle. It all leads back to Roscuro. So this is a really important point in how the author intertwines all of these characters. And so we didn't really talk much about Roscuro or Despereaux for a while, but she gets to escape because soup was outlawed because Roscuro fell in the soup. And so since that happened, she was discovered and she got to escape her uncle's house. She didn't have to stay there anymore. And I'm going to quickly go over, I really like what the author says at the very end about, I want you to maybe think about this question yourself. She gives us this question, reader, do you think that it is a terrible thing to hope when there's really no reason to hope at all? And I think this is a really important question to ponder because that's kind of what hope is all about, right? I think that things can seem really unrealistic and things can seem really hard, or like there's not a whole lot of, doesn't seem like things are going to get better. And Megarry hopes anyway. She hopes to escape her uncle. She hopes to become a princess. And even if it's unlikely that she's going to become a princess, the author is saying, do you think it's unreasonable? Do you think it's wrong to hope anyway? Because it doesn't really matter to anyone. It matters to you. It matters to Megarry. And so I want you to maybe think about that question. Do you think it's valuable to hope for something, even if you don't think, what did she say? Even if there is really no reason to hope at all. And I think, personally, there's always a big value in hoping. And even in this season that we're in, where we're learning online and things are really not normal for what we're normally doing, I still think there's a really good reason to hope, because we never know what's going to happen. And we never want to lose hope, because amazing things can happen. Very unpredictable things can happen, just like they do in the Tale of Despereaux. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys next video. Bye, everyone.